Hello guys. So I had a request to do Dev Queen on the official forums. So I'm just gonna make a short video on how to use her. So first of all, she's a new Season 2 Andor player, so she's pretty hard to get. And she has the best synergy with a Lucian goalkeeper. Then again, a lot of people have synergy with him. So again, it's really for a mono Andor backline you're gonna want to have her. Now on the skill level, her active is a skill that decreases the target reflex by 70% and absorbs 50% of spirit. I'm going to say this is a pretty bad active as it can be used only once every 15 minutes, and the majority of the time, the front line is going to be able to act before your back line. One way to counter this and actually use it if you really want to is to throw in an ignition catalyst, but I really wouldn't advise it. The second skill is reduce the damage allies within the position receive from Dark and Wyrmwind players. The Wyrmwind isn't that important because, except for Beatrice, there's very few of those. And Dark players are just because it's the elemental advantage over Andor. But I want to say it's a nice skill, but it's not something you're going to be really using constantly. For the third skill, decrease the pass effect of enemies within the position. That's really good against some one-hit KO front lines who are going to do a pass and shoot. And even if they're not doing that, it is going to give you a bigger advantage when they have the ball and you want to steal it, so they don't actually damage you more than you damage them. So again, I would say this is a very nice skill, but it's really not the best. Now the reason why you want her is this one. I'm going to say is really her best skill. Increase the max height, the counter-attack resistance, and the attack power of the Andor players within the position. So Andor is the key word. If they're not red, it's completely useless. But again, if they're red, a 35% high buff, counter-attack resistance, attack power, all of that in one skill is nice. Combined again with reducing pass effect and with reducing the damage from a few different ways is going to be a very good setup when combined with a goalkeeper who can heal the line. So my ideal build for her would be 3-5-5-5. Unless you're running an ignition catalyst, then I would actually change it to 5-3-5-5. Now, on a stone-wise, as I've said earlier, there's two ways of building her. So the first one, as I said, is ignition catalyst. So what you would do is put an ignition catalyst here. You would put a thunder crit rate here. You would put a dark action speed here, and depending on your mood, you can put a dark crit damage or another dark action speed in the prime slot. Again, she has a pretty decent crit rate, and you can max that out depending on your back line. So as front lines are not going to be reducing crit rate, it's very easy to scale up. Now, a second build you can do is instead maxing out on just raw damage. So for this, you're going to be using a Heart of Thunder. It's the Thunder unique that does critical damage and critical rate, hiring the crits. Then you do a Dark Action Speed. You do an Andor Reflex Stone. By the way, the Andor Reflex also reduces critical damage received. So that plus this reducing the chance of being counterattacked when you have the ball is great. And the center slot, depending on how you feel, and again, I'm going to say my personal opinion, you might disagree. My personal opinion is to put a dark crit damage. Why? Because that's going to heal her. If not, you can throw a second dark action speed, or you could even put a red reflex. It's really up to you, but I'm going to say the dark critical damage is just going to be great because it's going to heal you. And that's what a backline always needs. And there's some better stealers in the Andor backlines. Now, on a story chain thing, I sadly can't really see them. They're really not that great. The rival one has a low chance of being activated. These two are a little bit higher, but not by much. And this is basically low stars. That's from my memory, so it might not exactly be that. Again, I can't access these as I don't own her. On a skin level, well, they're just basically, she's a rocker. You can choose the one you want. I'd say I'm personally more a fan of this one, but it's really a question of personal taste. She has no special skins. So the players I would want, just for people to have a visual effect, she would work in a backline very well with a Kevin. There are a few different backline Andor players. Again, it's going to depend your team build, but I would say you could also throw in a Lucian, and you could throw in the player who's about to get an EE at the end of this week. I think it's on the 22nd that she's getting it. So that player would be, and sadly I don't remember what she looks like, so this isn't helping. Oh, right here. So that would be Erica, who's gonna have an Andor buff, increasing even more the max type of the entire team. So this is more ideally for a mono Andor team, and these are players that would work great in a backline with her. Again, you can either build her as an Ignition Catalyst stealer or first attacker, or in a critical damage hitter that can heal himself. So I hope that this allows people to understand exactly the value of Death Queen, and ideally how you should build her and what backline you'd await when seeing her. See you next time, and if anyone wants to request any other thing, just post a comment on YouTube, message me on the forums. I'm always down to try follow requests.